So hello everybody, welcome back. I wanted to continue talking to you about food, and these ones are stories. And I'm not sure entirely of the accuracy of this thing because I cannot go and ask these people if they were doing it or not. I just read several things that were related to this topic, and I thought that it was very interesting, and it will prove that food is more than just food. It's also an imological topic, which means that people are done with money and they are also done with food. And it's not our fault, by the way. It's just that, like I have said before, we do not get the fact that we are not our bodies. We are a combination of energies in different kinds of levels, and this energy is moving, and then this emotion thing that we have will take form, and then it will create stuff by the consciousness, as in the logic that each one of us has. And there is no such a thing as logic when it comes to dealing with energy, because they are not the same thing. And anyway, just sit down and enjoy, and maybe you will get several things, and then this hopefully will help you understand where things are going and why and stuff like that. Now, I recommend that you do not drink anything hot with this. Actually, don't drink anything, because you might laugh the hell out of this one. And if you do laugh, I don't want you to spit out the whole thing in your computer or in your cell phone. So, yeah, sorry about that. But anyway. However, if you want to share a coffee with me, you can do that in the link down below. Thank you very much. And if you wanted to help me out, to get my books in Amazon and stuff like that, I have an email for that, so that you can send an Amazon gift card in down below. And anyway, now, how do you promote certain food that you are not sure how it's going to play out in terms of changing something that people actually know for something that you are certain that it will work, but you cannot force your opinion into anybody else, especially if you are not popular. So here is what you do. You get your food stolen. Oh, hell yeah. So let me try to explain this. A lot of revolutions with people, they start with differences in terms of politics. And then they evolve into difference in terms of economics. And then they evolved into differences in terms of ways of doing things. And then they evolve into differences between economical status, as in social status of people. Because, you might have the same idea, but there is no way in hell that you're saying to somebody that you do not like that you are thinking the same thing that they are, because that will mean losing face, and that will also mean shame, and that will also mean a lot of things. And I can tell you right now that if people have to choose between shame and death, 90% of the time they will choose death. I do not know why. Quite frankly, like I said, it does not make sense at all. I will do a different video about that one. But this one proves kind of like this point. So how do you deal with people that are starving, but they will not eat what you are telling them to eat, and they will not eat what is available? And also, let's say that you are the government and you need people to get food. However, as the government, you were doing subsidies for certain things. and now the farmers will not take your subsidies, or somebody stole the money, and then the farmers are pissed because the money was not given to them, and now they're not going to deliver the food because there was corruption in the system. And there are, like I said, a million things that will go wrong between farming, the politicians, the water, the weather, and everything. And then the people that will see the outcome of this is the consumers, because they are the ones who have to pay for this thing. And then if consumers are used to paying $1 for one bread, and all of a sudden you tell them, hey, you have to pay $5 for one bread, and bread is something that they consume in a daily basis, yeah, you're probably going to be screwed as a politician, because nobody will blame the banks or anyone. They will blame you, especially if you were supposed to be giving money to the farmers and everything, and then the farmers go in a strike saying that they did not get it or whatever, and then, yeah, it's your head on the table. So how do you make people not choose bread because the actual cost of the bread is not even $5, it's actually $10? So even if you were to subsidize it, you cannot make it $1 because it's just not viable. You have to make it $5 because of cost, or because all of a sudden, there was a pipe that the farmers were supposed to get the water from, the pipe broke, and replacing that pipe is going to be huge in terms of expenses and stuff, and you just can't afford it. So how do you make people shift their minds from bread, which is something that they use daily, to something cheaper and something that might be better, like potatoes? So back in the day, like several centuries and years ago, in Europe there were no potatoes, and someone came to Latin countries and they got potatoes from Peru, and they got it to Europe. They got it to France, and they got it to England. And potatoes are cheaper, and they are easy to grow, and you can grow them almost anywhere. And not only that, but they are a nice substitution for bread. However, if somebody, if you never have seen a potato in your entire life, and the government tells you, yeah, we're not bringing you potatoes anymore, we're not bringing you bread anymore, now you have to eat potatoes, everyone will go mad and everyone will go crazy, and nobody will believe you anymore. Because basically you're telling people, yeah, give up the bread, and we're just going to grow this thing that we imported from Latin countries, and we don't even know what the hell. So people will go kind of like, you what? Oh, hell no, you are out. So, this thing, they were trying to do something about the cost of several things, and they were trying to not subsidize so many farmers in terms of producing bread and producing other things, and there was also a famine at that time. So they were kind of like, okay, so we can't throw money at this one, because even if we threw money at it, it's just an end, it's a bottomless end. And not only that, but we don't have time, because producing all of these things take time. And not only that, but even if we were going to produce this thing, it's just not going to be enough to feed all of these people. So what are we going to do? So they decided, okay, we're going to introduce potatoes to people. But then they said, okay, how do we introduce potatoes to people if, nobody knew anything? And it's not like, if you are used to eating bread every day, it's not like you're going to line up to try something new. Most people are just not going to go for it. I mean, there was a time in which there was a famine situation in France, and this was even documented, and it was really, really bad. And there were people that were trying to cook snakes and stuff like that. And even it was a very bad situation. So people were cooking snakes, and they were trying to pass it around to try to solve the famine problem. And nobody ate it. Everybody was kind of like, oh, hell no. We would rather starve than eating snake. What the hell? Because like I said, food is a topic that is just beyond logic. It's like some people will refuse, like I said in the clap thing. Some people will just refuse. Even if they are starving and you give them something and they don't like it, it will make them actually feel that they are worth less. And this is going to create anger in them. So it's kind of like you go to a church and then you're like, yeah, I'm going to give you a pizza. And then the person is like, yeah, sorry, I don't like pizza. I would rather starve to death. And then you're like, you are ungrateful. And the other person is like, oh, hell no, you are arrogant and stuff like that. So it will become an angry issue kind of thing. And the more proud that you are, or the more that you were middle class kind of thing, the less likely you're going to be able to manage emotional problems. And trading is going to be into this topic, by the way, also. Big time. Because if you try to trade something, oh my god, and then you hit the wrong button, oh my freaking god, you might as well just forget about trading at all, because you're never going to trade anything anymore if you messed up in this topic. And then so anyway, point being that people are going to be pissed as they were in France because they didn't have food. And then you're like, yeah, but you could eat snakes. No, hell no, you cannot eat snakes. If it is not bread, it's not food. The same thing happened here. They were having problems with money. They were having problems with famine. They were having problems with water, and they were having problems with the whole thing. And then they didn't know what the hell to do. Somebody said, okay, let's introduce potatoes. How the hell do we do that? Because you cannot tell anyone that there are potatoes. So what they did is, okay, we're going to have somebody steal it. And that one actually worked out very, very, very well. So what happens is that there were rich people that were given potatoes. And they were telling their workers, like the family garden, farmer guy, whatever. They were saying, grow this in my garden and don't tell anyone. And do not share anyone with this thing because that's only mine. So basically they were saying that potatoes were only food, that was so good, that was only for rich people. And then, potatoes were being, taken care of and everything. And then when they were about to be ready, they said 1 week, they started talking to the people that were in the house, the butlers and stuff like that. They were saying, next week is potatoes harvest on Wednesday. So on Tuesday, everyone knew that if they waited until Wednesday, then they will never be able to taste this potato thing or whatever. So on Tuesday, everyone went to each person's rich people houses and stuff, and in the gardens, and they took the potatoes, leaving the plant on, which is, by the way, something that is going to be done. So, I have said it before, people are going to steal the potatoes. So people stole all of the potatoes, and then they just fled with the freaking potatoes everywhere. And then on Wednesday, when rich people were trying to get the potatoes, they got nothing. But the poor people tasted the potatoes, and they already knew how the hell to make it work. Like how the hell to plant it and how to do it, because the rich people told them very carefully how to do it, how not to do it, and stuff like that. So basically now all of the poor people had potatoes, and they also could grow them in their own gardens. And there was no problem. And more than half of the people, the rich people saved face. Because the poor people, the ones that were working or something, they said, oh my lord, I'm sorry, but we must have done something wrong because the potato did not grow. And the rich people were like, right, no worries, we're just going to get a little bit more imported. We can try it again, soon or whatever. And the poor people were like, yeah, those idiots, they believed it. So at the end, they were able to solve the problem with the famine thing, and they were able to introduce potatoes to everyone. Now, when there is a famine situation, nobody will eat stuff that they don't like or they are not used to dealing with. So people will go to two sources. They will go to natural chefs. If there is a local chef that everyone loves, and he cooks snakes, then everyone will try it because there is an authority figure telling you that you can eat it and actually making it taste good. If you make it taste good, then it will work. And so during famines, governments and other people will work by introducing chefs to do stuff that they will normally not do, and then they will be kind of like, oh yeah, I cook alligators for rich people, and then people will be like, really? I have never eaten alligator. Yeah, but these rich people do it. So people will be kind of like, oh hell, if people rich do it, why don't I do it? And then you will do it. And a lot of people introduce this technique of stealing things from the rich, giving it to the poor people, making the poor people think that it was their idea, and that way nobody will get angry. And it's important that you get this one, because it's going to probably be play a big role in terms of food in the near future. Because if and this is important, like I said, for example, the owner of Microsoft, he said that he's going to introduce a vegan concept of meat. And then a lot of people are going to be kind of like, is this something that rich people are going to be, eating and stuff because it's vegan and all of that? And if the thought is that one, then this product is very likely going to replace permanently all kinds of meat. Because if you have to choose between this product that rich people consume and rich people can buy it for, let's say, $2 per kilo, but then buying meat will cost you $10 per kilo, and it will also be kind of like associated with heart problems or diseases and stuff like that, then the campaign in your head, it will change. And if you make it change, any kind of product and any kind of thing, anything, I do mean anything, gasoline, water, brands, specific clothing, food, whatever it is, if you make it in association with something that it makes sense in terms of etymologically it makes sense, then it will stick. Because it doesn't need to be logic. It just needs to stick with the etymological part, with the emotion. And then if you make it like that, then people are going to be kind of like, yeah, I'm sorry, you are eating an animal that you killed. Why will you be killing an animal? You are a savage or something like that. Why don't you do it like rich people? Why don't you just go and buy this thing? Kind of like that. Now, at this point, I can tell you that the market will absolutely favor whatever is cheap. And not only that, but they will also favor anything that is fast and anything that is fancy. Because if a chef does it for rich people, then everyone else will want to do it. And so chefs play an extremely big role in terms of shaping the culture of food. Sorry, I get interrupted all the time. And anyway, I also wanted to mention, for example, like I said, things tend to be different with everyone. And then food is a topic that will make everything come together. Now, there is another thing about food. For example, the Boston Tea Party, in the US. It was because there were so many differences, but everything was equal in terms of food between England and the US. However, when England decided to raise the price of the tea, that's something that it proved that they were not thinking or doing things to come to a middle term with the US, and that point was like a breaking point. And then in India, there was a with Mahatma Gandhi. He wanted to promote everyone getting sea salt and Himalayan salt rather than table salt, which is the one that England was selling, you know. And then Gandhi was so pissed because he knew that table salt was going to create a hell of a lot of nutritional problems for everyone, because that does not contain magnesium. And if you don't have magnesium, your muscles will always have problems, and then you will have a hell of a lot of problems later on, and people will not associate the fact that it's just that you are lacking magnesium. And in fact, he was trying to promote to the Indians per se the idea that everyone should make their own magnesium. There are ways in which you can do it yourself through plants and other things. And this did not go well with the political issues and economical issues with Great Britain. And at that point, they were having fights that ended up being so bad, because when you cannot agree on how to deal with food between two nations, then that's war, period. Because the only thing that everyone has in common is air, water, and food. There is nothing else that we can have in common, not even an environment, climate, whatever. There is nothing. It's just that these are like the three major things that everyone is kind of like an understanding of things. We don't destroy the planet because we need food. How the hell are you going to grow food if you destroy the soil? You know, even if you were to conquer a country, if you destroy all the soil, you would never have food. So, you know, there are things that people are, you know, we might be stupid and all of those things, but we are not suicidal as a whole, you know, generally speaking, because sometimes it just go crazy and then we tend to go kamikaze kind of thing with everyone. But anyway, point being that, you know, the food situation is not just you bringing food to the table. It's also a topic that will involve your social status, and it involve also being kind of as comfortable as possible. And at this point, I can tell you that in India, even though Gandhi won and they won the independence and everything else, the British still won. Anyway, I got interrupted again. So Mahatma Gandhi might have won the war in terms of getting the independence for his country and whatever, but he lost the war in terms of teaching people how the hell to take care of their own nutritional things, and how the hell to take care of their own bodies, and how to promote balance with nature and gardening and all of that, which is quite important. But people are always going to pick whatever is fastest and more effective, even if it is more expensive. The reason for this is because of three things. Number one, I have mentioned before, we have problems with our bodies because they are fully contaminated with God knows what the hell from generations and generations. Number two, we have immunological problems all over the place. We are all out of whack, all of us. And the thing is that we are here trying to figure things out, and apparently we just keep getting worse. And then we get tired all the time. And you know, let's say that you have a job. If you have a job and this job is consuming you a hell of a lot of energy and time and everything, and then you come home, you probably are not going to be so happy about having to work in the garden, or having to work with the kids, or having to work at all, period. And then you would rather, with your money that you are making, you will rather buy everything. And then, you know, then we will be creating compulsions that will just keep growing into bigger problems, and food is going to be the last of your concerns. So you could care less if you're getting table salt, at least you're getting salt. And then because sea salt is more expensive than salt. And so if you're working too hard to get your money, then you're buying table salt because it's cheaper. And so this will in turn create like a cycle in which your body will regret it because obviously you need the magnesium that has the sea salt, and you need other things, and then you're not supposed to eat so much salt, because that one will damage the brain cells that are in your heart, and that one will damage your heart and all of those, and then you will have problems with your kidneys and other things, because you did not want to invest the time or the time into making yourself better, into educating yourself, into it. Most people are just too tired. There is a psychological concept about this one. It's called mental exhaustion. And then if you're going through hard times, meaning you are already kind of poor or you are lacking certain things, then you don't care if you are eating plastic. You won't care if you are eating anything. As long as it tastes good and as long as you can relax watching TV or something, then you will be happy. And this will continue to be like that until certain things changes. We need better voting systems, and then we need better systems in terms of the food production and distribution, and we need better systems for cleaning all the messes that we have created all over the place. And then most importantly, the food that you put into your body, it proves how much you actually care for your own body. And here's the deal. Nobody cares, because all human beings have problems with self-esteem. I haven't met anyone that can tell me that they were born and since they were a child, they love themselves a lot and they have never fought with themselves and they are always 100% happy and they are at peace and they have never met any kind of problems, and even if they did, they are okay about it and stuff like that. That doesn't happen. Everyone has their own internal battles. Everyone has some sort of issue that they're dealing with, and food is in the last bottom part about you solving a problem, because it isn't. I mean, when people think in terms of health, they don't think in terms of nutrition. They think in terms of what is the medicine that I'm supposed to take. They don't think of food as in medicine that you are supposed to be eating every day, or things like that. And then there is the fact that most people are drinking stuff that is even worse, or we don't even know how the hell to drink water properly. So there are a lot of things that are related to food that will involve politics, and they will also involve economical aspects, and they will also involve your health, and it will involve revolutions and everything else. And it is kind of interesting to understand this one. For example, in Japan, if you were trying to sell something in Japan just because it is fast, good luck with that. You're not going to do anything. Why? Well, because the people that are in charge of cooking and doing the food and everything else, they are usually the generations that are older. And older generations will not use, they will just not buy anything out of convenience. They will want to feel that they are useful. They will want to feel that they are putting their heart and they are putting nutrition, and they even have a word for it, which is bento. Bento is not you taking food into a food container and a lunchbox and going away. Bento is actually a word for proper nutrition within the food that you're eating, meaning you get the right amount of proteins, the right amount of minerals, the right amount of certain vitamins, the right amount of certain things. So it is embedded within the culture. And this is not in other countries. In other countries, it's like, that's what I could afford. You're eating that, period. Or that is what the chef is doing in the TV, and I'm trying to do it the best I can. And then you will see the plate very, very nice in the TV. And then you will take a picture of that thing from the TV, and then you will look at your mom's thing, and your mom thinks looks like a disaster thing, but you don't know what the hell to tell to your mom, because that thing, she's like very proud of the fact that she made it. And then you're like, this thing looks like a cake for for a magazine and everything. And this one, yeah, this one looks like a monster. He just was blended into a something, and then was eaten by a zombie, and then somebody came here and kicked her out, and then that's what you're doing here. Yeah, kind of like that. But you cannot say anything to anyone who is cooking, because at least they are trying, right? So yeah, try telling to someone who is cooking for you. Try telling them, yeah, yeah. Hell, I have seen people that they are like, when they are talking to other people, they're like, yeah, my wife made me something, but quite frankly, not even the dog wanted to eat it. Yeah, but there's no way in hell I'm telling my wife that thing is just, yeah. That I think that if an alien was going to throw up, that thing is going to probably look like what my wife made. So, oh hell no, I'm paying a course for her. I'm giving her a course. I'm paying her so that she can do, and then whatever, and then she can cook something nice or whatever. So a lot of men are going to try to make their wives chefs, and vice versa. A lot of women will be kind of like, oh hell no, I'm paying a weekend for my husband so that he learns how the hell to hunt and how the hell to cook something, and make like a fire grill or something, because yeah, he's very proud of that, of that thing that looks like, yeah. So yeah, so like I said, food, never about food.